Welcome to another episode of Careers Express, brought to you by the Cyprus Mail, where job seekers and professionals can stay up to date with what matters most in our world of work. Today, we will look at diversity in the Cyprus workplace, barriers to inclusion, and how we can address these issues. Joining me for our discussion is diversity, equity, and inclusion advocate, Dr. Marianna Bafidi.
Thank you, Elizabeth. My name is Marianna Pafiti. I was born in Limassol, where I was raised until the age of 18. When I decided to enter the University of Cyprus to study. I have studied modern and Byzantine Greek literature in the University of Cyprus. My studies were completed in 2014 when I got my PhD title. It is important to say that in the age of the 23, when I got my first degree, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and that's the reason that I became in the process an advocate for the human rights of the disabled people in Cyprus.
You co-founded the organization Neophytos, which is active in raising awareness about the rights of the disabled. Could you tell us, Marianna, a little about the mission of Neophytos?
Yes, of course. I would like to mention that Neophytos, as a disability cultural org, is based on the disability culture, born and raised in America. In America, of course, these things are considered now given. But for us in Cyprus, it is new. It is new in Cyprus to acknowledge that the disabled can be active and be socially engaged. So, Neophytos dreams of an inclusive society and dreams to run programs to engage the disabled people in social activities. This is not an easy thing because when we talk about the disability, there is a huge, diverse world of disability, and it's not easy for some people to be engaged. We have the dream and we have the plans in order to accomplish our aim.
Impressive. Turning now to diversity, equity, and inclusion. In many Cyprus businesses, it's beginning to take hold, but still has room to improve. So, what's changed so far?
I'm not sure that we can talk in general about the Cypriot businesses and inclusion. I am sure that we can talk about the foreign companies in Cyprus which do adopt inclusive attitude towards their business. I wish it was the case of the Cypriot business, but it is still not, because of the lack of education.
So, how did the pandemic in particular impact the topic of inclusion in the workplace?
I think that worldwide, the new methods of working have proved that we can include disabled people, especially. And I consider myself one of them when it comes to my job, since I was to lose my job because of my disability and the restricted mobility, but thank God, the COVID gave me the chance to work from home, and that was an amazing chance to prove that I can offer and be an active citizen working from home. And when it comes to the public service, there are some inclusive methods towards disabled people, but we still don't have the law to include people in the public sector.
So, what actions do employers need to implement and embrace diversity?
It is a matter of culture. It is always about culture. Human rights and working is a human right that we try to fight for in Cyprus as a member of the disabled community. I would not like to give the message that all is black. If the Cypriot companies decide to open their attitude and embrace diversity, they will all gain benefits that all the businesses around the world are gaining because of including diversity. Diversity, not only the disabled people, but also all the different types of difficulties that people deal with in a specific period of their lifetime or more than a specific period. I am referring to young mothers or to pregnant women or to old people that I believe also in Cyprus we are ageist and we do not include the elders. And this is a problem too.
Okay, so why do we still find that in many cases business only pay lip service to inclusion? In other words, what is the mindset and values that drive a truly inclusive culture?
It's a mindset that a society has to gain. We are in the beginning of conquering this mindset of including, but you still watch the fight that the parents give for their children to be included in the classroom with the non-disabled children. I mean, if we are in this stage when it comes to education, you can understand then that when it comes to working force, we have lots of things to improve, referring to our mentality. We are not still ready to accept that the disabled people can offer and contribute in this society and be active citizens. And this is the meaning of my fight, that we can offer and be active citizens if we have the support we need.
We have a long way to go. So, groups that come under diversity and inclusion include the physically disabled. What would you say are the types of discrimination this demographic faces in the workplace, and how can we combat it?
People on a wheelchair because of an accident are privileged in Cyprus in all the fields concerning disability, and this is sad to say in a European country in 2022. And we are afraid as a society of all the other disabilities, like the mental one, the psychological differences of the people, and things that have to do with mind and soul. We are not used to include these people. And I have to tell that until recently, and not recently, and now, we still have institutions for these people. So we need to make an effort to embrace neurodiversity, because it's a huge cycle of different situations that we need to embrace. And as a last thing, I would like to say that in a society that gets old and the health problems become more often in our lives, we need to adjust. Otherwise, we will not have the workforce we need.
With your permission, I'd like to ask you, how has diversity played a role in your career?
Well, until the mobility restrictions came to my life, I was an active academic person and an actress also. I was moving around the world freely, traveling and getting knowledge and experiences. When the mobility problems came to my life, I was shut out of all the fields I was working before.
Mm-hmm.
So there were like 3 years of silence, of my silence, in order to understand what I should need to do to gain again the things that matter in my life. And among them, it's of course literature and theater. So I decided to quit my scientific studies concerning the Renaissance Cretan literature and decided to focus on use of literature as a means of creating empathy, an empathy needed to the doctors, an empathy needed to all the personnel of the health sector, an empathy needed to the society in general, in order to accept diversity. As far as it comes to the theater, I and my associate in Neophytos came with an idea of me writing my life down and putting it on stage. So we did, and we brought in Cyprus the disability theater, something unknown to the art things of the island. And we are still trying to prove that this is important. It's important to have the disabled in all the fields of life, financial, cultural, in all the fields. We can only gain different spectrum, different perspective. We can only get more reach. And I myself, as a disabled, I get more reach each day I come across a different disability than mine and different difficult situation. So it's a matter of enriching our souls and minds.
Impressive. Can you give us some examples of diversity success stories?
It is amazing. An article I was reading these days about a young man in Cyprus that he is blind and he is working in Google because he is a genius. So I wonder if he was to work in the Cypriot businesses, would we be able to see his talent and his genius? I'm not sure, because we are still afraid of the disability and we don't easily give the disabled people a chance to prove themselves. So for me, this is amazing worldwide to have a Cypriot blind man working in Google.
Absolutely, absolutely. For younger job seekers who come under the diversity umbrella, what is your advice for making the most out of their career journey?
I need to underline the fact that in a fair society, no disabled, no a different person in a different situation should need to prove himself or herself in order to take a job. But in Cyprus, we do need to prove ourselves as disabled that we are able to offer. So for all the young people, instead of trying to persuade the businesses to think of creating their own business, because we have examples of few, but there are disabled people creating a startup.
Millennials and Gen Zers consider workplace diversity and inclusion as a major factor in any job decision. In light of this, how would you say these two generations will change Cypriot work culture?
I am convinced that these new generations, the youngest, are already familiar with disability or all the other different situations in a life of a person. I think that the youngest do not have the taboo or the narrow minds of the elder concerning to engage disabled in their job. Hopefully, the youngest will make a Cyprus that will be we all be proud of it.
Before we go, do you have any final thoughts?
As a disabled woman, because the problems with my being in Cyprus is a double one. It's not only the disability, it's my feminine status. I would like to call all those people thinking narrowly, asking me if there is a chance for the disabled and the non-disabled be in the same hotel, because this is sad, but this is the situation right now in Cyprus. I would like to ask them to call the disabled and meet them and get to know them. Otherwise, we are not going to gain progress in this island.
Finally, where can people learn more about you, Marianna, or Neophytos?
You can find me in all the social media, Marianna Pafiti, Pafite, in LinkedIn, in Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And you will find the Disability Culture Organization Neophytos, Neophytos, in all the social media. We are very active in Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and we have also our webpage on the net. Thank you to you and Alexander for this invitation, because it's important to raise awareness about disability and diversity, because we live in a century of diversity and we have to understand and accept.
Thanks, Marianna, to you for sharing these valuable insights and your experiences.
I thank you too.
Thanks also to you, our Careers Express viewers, for joining us. If you found this video useful, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel, and follow us on our social media as well. See you in a new video very soon.